just drastic reforms.
Greetings and welcome back to News Humor, where if the news doesn't make you laugh, it'll make you cry. If it doesn't make you laugh or cry, it might just get you really, really upset. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. A lot of people on the news have been talking about how we have a law enforcement problem. And I tend to agree with them. We have a law enforcement problem. You guys are supposed to be there to enforce the law. You're not called statute enforcement. You're not called code enforcement. You're not called curfew enforcement. You're not called executive order enforcement. You're called law enforcement. And that's the problem. You're not enforcing the law. Anyways, let's see what Bo from the Fifth Column has to say about some of this.
If you enact reforms to stop your officers from engaging in excessive force and they quit, you throw a party. That's what you do. You throw a party. You celebrate. Dance in the streets. Nobody's going to stop you. If they're going to quit because new policies are coming along that are going to stop them from engaging in excessive force and hurting people, they shouldn't be cops. You should be happy they're quitting. Well, what if the reforms go too far and they become ineffective? Ineffective. As compared to what exactly? The pinnacle of effectiveness that we've seen this week? What are you worried about happening? Unaccountable men running through the streets, hurting people? We see it. They're wearing badges, most of them. Cities burning? What are you worried about specifically happening if they become ineffective? We've seen a montage of ineffectiveness all over the news. We are past the point of retraining in most departments. Specifically, most large departments. We are past the point.
Well, I agree with you. You know, if cops quit because they can't brutalize people anymore, good riddance. And I also agree that, yeah, we should celebrate. Anyways, there's another story brewing here, and that is up in Asheville. There were peaceful protesters. They weren't even protesters. Peaceful people who got a permit to have medical supplies and water for the protesters, and the cops just bash it all up. They just bash it all up. What kind of sense does that make? And the mayor's talking about looking into it. Well, whose office did they get the permit from? And who ordered the cops to be on the street? Who signed the order to put all of those officers out on the street to where they had the ability to do that? Mayor? Mayor? Is that you? Is that you? This is why we gotta start thinking. Okay? Because again, let's go up to New York. Cuomo.
People have seen Mr. Floyd's murder. They're watching what's going on the streets every day. And they're saying, enough is enough. And it's what they are seeing and what they know that is disturbing. I just spoke with Mr. Gugino on the phone, who is that gentleman, who thankfully is alive. But you see that video, and it disturbs your basic sense of decency and humanity. Why? Why was that necessary? Where was the threat? Older gentleman, where was the threat? And then you just walk by the person while you see blood coming from his head. And police officers walk by. It's just fundamentally offensive and frightening. It's just frightening. You say, like, who are we? How did we get to this place? Incidents of pushing the press. You have incidents of police getting hit with bricks in the head. You say, where are we? Who are we? And these are undeniable situations.
And here's an elderly gentleman, 70-something years old, gets pushed down, knocks the back of his head. He is bleeding from the back of his head because he got pushed down. Here comes Cuomo talking about it, talking about how this is ridiculous. Who ordered those cops out on the street, Cuomo? You're telling me that you didn't sign an executive order for the state to have the National Guard and militarized police out on the street to deal with rioters, and then you're surprised that this happened? You're talking about how we lost our humanity. Well, I don't know about you, Cuomo, but I still got mine. I still got mine. I'm cool. Then, in other news, down in Atlanta, we got 2 college students getting ripped out of their car, tased, just because they didn't listen to an officer. Just because they didn't say, stop, stop. Were we playing red light, green light? Is that what was going on? There's a red light. So I get tased? This is insane. This is insane. If I were any one of the people that I just talked about, if I were the individual that got tased, if I were in Asheville and they came and ripped up all of my stuff, thousands of dollars worth of stuff, if I were the elderly gentleman up in New York, you know what I'd do? I'd go down to the courthouse and I would swear out a warrant for the officers involved. If I didn't know their name, I'd be like, badge number 243. Whatever man was operating badge number 243, that man pushed me down and I broke my head. Whatever man was operating badge number 243, that man, I saw him. I got him on video ripping up all my supplies, causing thousands of dollars worth of damage. That man, badge number 243, I saw him tase me. He tased me. I wish to swear out a warrant and have him arrested. Just because you swear out a warrant and have them arrested doesn't mean that they're convicted. They got the right to stand trial, because if you did some stuff, that's exactly what they would do to you. But as it is right now, here's what they're doing. They're saying, oh, we're going to give you an $800 fine and you're going to have a couple nights in jail because you scratched our helmet. You scratched our riot helmet. Oh my God. Dude, you did that when you were tackling me to the ground. And you're going to charge me $800 and I got to go to jail for it? You see how that little role switches right there? If you don't have a right to go and swear out a warrant against these people, then they don't have a right to swear out a warrant against you. You want to start talking about law? Know your rights. Know your rights. And to law enforcement, start enforcing law. Start enforcing law. Don't enforce governor's orders, executive orders, curfews, statutes, codes, procedures. Enforce the law. Because that's what this country wishes for right now. And I don't have a whole lot of faith that this is going to happen. Just me personally. Because even if we get the people on the ground, even if we get the officers to start enforcing law, we got to get their superiors to obey it. And I don't know about you, but I've been seeing a lawless society for a long time. I mean, it's a tragedy what happened to this man in New York. But over 2 years ago, I know another 80-something-year-old gentleman. His name is Henry Ramo. And he got arrested by a judge in a courtroom just for saying that that woman wasn't his attorney. That's all he said. He got up and said, that woman is not my attorney. She does not represent my interests. Arrest him.
Judge, my name is Henry Ramo. That's my case they're talking about. And she is not my attorney of record.
Y'all go ahead and have a seat.
She's not my attorney of record. I'm telling him now, that's my case.
Have a seat. Mr. Sheriff, take Mr. Ramos, if that's his name, into custody.
Ramo, I hear you now.
Step over here for me, please.
Don't put those on me. I don't give you permission to touch me.
Sir.
Do not touch me. I don't give you permission to touch me. Do you know what you're doing?
Just step over here, please.
Law enforcement, you're not there to follow orders from other men. You're there to enforce the law. And my greatest fear, and the reason I've been doing what I've been doing for the past 8 years, is because if we don't start moving towards a lawful society, if we don't start moving back to a place where we all have rights and we can get along, no matter who you are, no matter what your economic class is, no matter what your color is, no matter what position you hold in society. The next protesters to come out in this, when those boys with AR-15s that were protesting the lockdown orders come back out, I don't have a feeling that they're gonna be talking. I don't have a feeling that when they come back out to deal with police brutality and other tyrannies, that they're gonna say, oh, let me go get these bricks that the police laid out for me, and that's gonna be the weapon that I'm gonna use. I don't think it's gonna go down like that. And police departments that are already having problems dealing with people like that, think about it. Think about it. Because when people start pulling these out, it's a different story. This is a different game. And it's a game I pray to God we avoid as a nation. Because if we don't, the past 7-8 years of my life have basically been pointless. I hope you think about it. I hope you like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the officers. Are they just out of control? Can we do a better job? The American public? Let me know what you think. I love hearing from y'all, and I read all the comments because I'm not getting a lot yet. Anyways, y'all have a good afternoon. And I'll see you next time.
The presence of federal troops will do nothing to calm tensions. In fact, it will do the exact opposite. It will exacerbate them.
For 11 years, I served on active duty in the U.S. Army.
I'm also a veteran of the United States Marine Corps.
A former naval officer.
A retired major in the United States Air Force.
I did tours in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I served for 5 years on active duty.
I served in our military for almost 26 years before I retired.
I'm very disturbed by the President's threat to invoke the 1807 Insurrection Act and send federal troops into the states. The presence of federal troops will do nothing to calm tensions. In fact, it will do the exact opposite. It will exacerbate them.
Most military, they did not sign up to fight their own neighbors. They signed up to fight our enemies.
The National Guard and our local and state police forces are trained for these type of situations. Our federal troops are not